Welcome to the debate. Today we're looking at a really fundamental strategic decision for businesses in London. It's about how you weigh the guaranteed asset of established prestige against, well, the potential of an up-and-coming area. And we have two listings from our source material that frame this choice just perfectly. An established prime Mayfair address on Oxford Street, which commands £400 per calendar month, and then a very characterful Dalston Lane location priced dramatically lower at £230. So the central question we have to resolve is this. When you're evaluating an office location, does the superior centrality, the connectivity, and, the immediate prestige of Mayfair, does that truly outweigh the operational value and neighborhood momentum you get from the Dalston alternative? My position is that the premium you pay for Mayfair secures, irreplaceable strategic advantages. We're talking about eliminating friction and maximizing efficiency, which is essential for any ambitious company.
And I'm going to argue that focusing purely on that kind of reputation leads to, frankly, strategic overspending. When we really analyze the value proposition in Dalston, we find comparable, or in some cases superior, core features in a unique setting, in a location that is demonstrably up and coming, and all for a substantially lower cost. I mean, for most modern businesses, that $170 a month difference is a direct path to a better long-term return on investment. This whole debate is really about where genuine value lies today. Is it an external projection, or is it an internal cost-optimized functionality?
Okay, so let's begin with the Mayfair listing. This isn't just an office. For me, it really defines what hyper-centrality is. That $400,000 costs, it buys more than just four walls. It buys certainty. The description highlights that, and I'm quoting here, Bond Street Station is right next door, only a few seconds walk. We're talking about immediate access to the city in under 10 minutes and, seamless connectivity to every major transport line, including the new Elizabeth line. You are buying the strategic asset of frictionless connectivity. And that is just critical for firms that rely on a highly mobile team or frequent client meetings. What's more, this location caters to both startups or the perfect HQ for established firms. So that universal appeal, coupled with the prestige of prime Mayfair, it generates what I'd call a network effect of prestige. The address itself supports a high-level corporate image. It reduces the time and effort you need to establish credibility. I see why you emphasize cost. I really do. But let me offer a different perspective. The immediate connectivity and inherent prestige of Mayfair fundamentally change the calculus of business operations. It generates exponential returns.
I come at it from a different way. I mean, we have to quantify that exponential return before we just accept a 42.5% rent premium. When you actually look at the list of features, the marginal benefit of Mayfair's hypercentrality, it really struggles to justify the sheer cost. For $230 a month, the Dalston listing gives you every critical operational necessity. 24-hour access, fiber internet, it's fully furnished, kitchen, meeting rooms, professional management. Functionally, your ability to operate is equivalent. But then, Dalston introduces a key operational advantage that Mayfair completely lacks: parking. And that is far from a minor detail in a city like London. For any firm with operations that require logistics, couriers, or even just staff commuting from outside the city, the inclusion of dedicated parking is an enormous, quantifiable saving and a better amenity for your staff. The location is also very well connected, a 4-minute stroll from Dalston Junction, plus you have Hackney Downs, Haggerston, and Dalston Kingsland nearby. That provides strong, multimodal connectivity. When we couple that with the building's character, a jaw-dropping period building with a rich history, the strategic choice becomes, pretty clear to me. Superior value and unique character for almost half the price.
Let's tackle that cost differential head-on, that £170. You frame it as just an expenditure on location, but I frame it as an investment in time and de-risking your infrastructure. Your claim of functional equivalency between the two, it just ignores the reality of commercial gravity. While Dalston's connectivity is certainly strong, I'll give you that, it is distributed. It requires a 4-minute walk to one station, maybe more to others. Mayfair is a singular central hub, seconds from Bond Street. Right, and when you quantify high-value executive time at hundreds of pounds an hour, Eliminating that 5 or 10 minutes of navigational friction every day for multiple high-earning staff and, critically, for high-value clients, that creates massive compounding efficiency gains. And you mentioned the Elizabeth line. That's vital here. Mayfair offers direct, predictable, high-speed access to Heathrow to Canary Wharf. Dalston's connectivity requires transfers. It relies on the overground, which, let's be honest, often lacks the reliability of the core underground system. That 170 pounds is buying you strategic defense against transport risk.
I appreciate the focus on efficiency, I do, but your argument assumes a universal definition of frictionless. For a firm in the creative or tech spheres, for example, the marginal time saved by Mayfair's centrality just does not justify that capital expense. A 42.5% rent reduction, when you apply that across a typical 5-person startup for 3 years, that represents substantial capital you can reinvest into product development or talent acquisition. That directly affects your burn rate projection in a far more tangible way than, hypothetically saving a few executive minutes. And to just dismiss the parking advantage like that, I think is a profound oversight. The inability to offer vehicular access in Mayfair forces any firm relying on deliveries or staff from outside London into a state of, high dependency on an increasingly expensive public network. Dalston solves this.
It offers superior functionality in a key area, which really challenges the notion that Mayfair is inherently superior just because it's central.
But that's where your reasoning kind of misses the external strategic mandate. I mean, internal costs are vital, of course, but success relies on external validation. Mayfair provides that established credibility. Prime Mayfair, which is absolutely vital for client-facing organizations, financial services, that sort of thing. This location supports the external validation you need for high-profile engagement. In many industries, the postcode itself acts as a proxy for financial stability. You're paying for the electric buzz of Oxford Street and Soho because that saturation means guaranteed high-caliber foot traffic and immediate global recognition. This is crucial for client conversion. When a client gets a Mayfair meeting invitation, the perceived risk just drops instantly. A Dalston address, while promising, it requires explanation. It requires the client to understand what resurgence means.
The cost of that necessary explanation, the time you spend building confidence based on your location, that's a hidden friction that Mayfair eliminates entirely.
But is that electric buzz really strategic, or is it just historical convention? I'd argue that true strategic value lies in forward-looking vitality and talent-centric location strategy. Dalston is described as an up-and-coming location, seeing a resurgence of business activity. That implies genuine growth, genuine dynamism, which aligns perfectly with modern, flexible, often tech-focused companies. The Mayfair location, despite its prestige, it can carry a connotation of corporate uniformity, a higher cost of living for staff, making talent acquisition really difficult. By contrast, the cultural value in Dalston, the period building, the original flooring, it attracts a highly sought-after workforce that might actively avoid the corporate saturation of Mayfair. If your primary goal is securing and retaining top talent, aligning your brand with a neighborhood that has cultural momentum often provides a better return. We are, in a way, trading the gold standard of yesterday for the high-growth potential of tomorrow.
Okay, I accept that the modern workforce values character, but have you considered that a jaw-dropping period building often translates into operational difficulties? I mean, older buildings inherently pose challenges: climate control, layout inefficiencies. You might have structural columns that restrict open-plan design, all of which chip away at your promised savings. Mayfair's offerings, while they also have original features, they focus on stature and external projection, double-height ceilings, and excellent views down Oxford Street. The value is in the statement the building makes to the outside world, and the proximity to Soho means access to world-class client entertaining, those limitless retailers and restaurants that just don't have an equivalent concentration in Dalston. The Mayfair location is designed for high-stakes external interaction.
That's a compelling point about operational hurdles, but I don't buy that period features automatically mean inefficiency. The listing explicitly describes the Dalston building as an oasis. That term implies intent. It suggests they've taken the inherent character and they've optimized it for employee well-being. These aren't just aesthetic quirks, they're features that can directly contribute to lower staff turnover. Mayfair, despite its stature, it places its value almost entirely on the views down Oxford Street. It suggests the environment exists for outward display. For a firm prioritizing talent retention, the tangible character of Dalston, combined with its operational superiorities like parking, offers an internal value proposition that the Mayfair address focused on external powers simply cannot match, especially not at nearly double the cost.
The notion that Mayfair's value is purely external is, I think, a bit reductive. The location serves the external mandate, yes, but it also provides excellent, contemporary, managed space. But the core debate has to come back to connectivity and certainty. You define risk as overspending that 170 pounds. I define risk as choosing a location that carries inherent market instability. Dalston's resurgence is promising, but its reputation is still localized. For a business operating nationally or internationally, that prime Mayfair tag means universal recognition and zero uncertainty. The fact remains that the Oxford Street office secures access to London's global infrastructure faster and with higher certainty than any location outside Zone 1. That is the premium. You're buying time, reputation, and maximized access.
But you define success by proximity to the center. I would define success by maximizing capital efficiency while meeting all your operational needs. If a growing firm needs a prestigious address to signal ambition, the Dalston location being up and coming signals modernity, growth potential, and intellectual independence. That can be far more appealing to certain investors than, traditional, conservative Mayfair stature. And that 42% saving provides a substantial cushion against market shifts, offering a financial resilience the premium option just doesn't.
So to summarize my position, for businesses that prioritize minimal travel friction, immediate access to global transport links like Crossrail, and established, unwavering corporate prestige, the Oxford Street Mayfair location offers a strategic necessity that fully justifies the $400 investment. It remains the gold standard for connectivity, ensuring your credibility is established before a single meeting even begins.
And I maintain that the Dalston Lane office demonstrates that superior intrinsic character, that jaw-dropping period building, optimized for internal culture, and strong multimodal connectivity can be secured for $230 a month in a dynamic, emergent environment. It presents a powerful argument for location value that emphasizes financial efficiency and modern talent strategy over established, saturated name recognition.
Ultimately, the source material here gives us two credible pathways to success. And I think the optimal choice depends entirely on how an organization defines and prioritizes connectivity, prestige, and financial efficiency for its specific industry and its particular growth phase.
Indeed, and this comparison really reveals that the traditional asset of Mayfair prestige is now being actively traded off against emergent talent strategy and operational cost efficiency. It proves that neighborhood momentum and superior internal design are becoming truly quantifiable strategic assets in the contemporary office market.